Hey everyone, quick update before we jump in. If you've been listening for a while, you've heard me allude to this already. For anyone new, here's the short version. We recorded this episode 6 months ago, and in that time since, I got married. But what's new now is that with the finished photos and the video from the wedding, it has become something I wanted to put all together into a video showing you some of the Sonic and Sally elements, the artwork, and most importantly, the story. It's one story I've been putting together to share with you that I am really proud of, and I think it'll click with not only the people who enjoy the show, but with anyone who has been following all these years with great support. So, more on this soon, but for right now, let's start the show.
Good evening, folks. Good evening, coasters. It's once again I, the marvelous, the magnificent, what other, insert any adjective that starts with M, Malzilla, with another episode of Sonic Hosts Coast to Coast. With me, as always, is my co-host, Radrey. Radrey, say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
But we are not alone, for our dynamic duo is now a threesome. Yeah. Neon, welcome back. Say hello.
Yeah. Yes. If I had a voice board working, I'd probably play the opening to Joe Hendry's opening for wrestling. But I don't, so...
It's the thought that counts.
What is that?
Yes.
For our listeners at home, what even is that? I don't even know.
All I know is there's a wrestler called Joe Hendry. He does this... Whenever he appears, he has this tone that goes... say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Or something. It's incredibly cheesy in a wrestle thing. And because of certain videos that have been my special interest as of late.
All right.
It's a catchy tune, is what I'll say.
Yeah, but is it better than I'm a real American? Fight for the rights of every man. Do. That is the extent of my wrestling intro knowledge, folks. This is a Sonic podcast, not a wrestling podcast.
Yes. Let's return back to Sonic. Even though technically Eggman did do wrestling in the comics. But that's beside the point.
El Gran Gordo. Yes.
Not
he
Huevo.
would be a luchador, wouldn't he? Huevos Rancheros.
Well, because,
But yes, we are here once again to talk about Sonic X, another 5 episodes. We're going to start off with episode 17. Radrey, do you want to chime in with the production notes?
Sure. If you want to get started. I guess before we talk about our thoughts about the episode.
You write all that stuff down, and I don't, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to be very thorough, so our audience at home knows exactly what we're talking about. So we're not like, a bunch of voices all talking in your head, like David Haller or Professor Xavier from X-Men. So episode 17, known as The Adventures of Knuckles and Hawk. Or in Japanese, it's called Nakuruzu Ikari no Tekken. Knuckles Fists of Fury, which I think is a much better title. I don't know.
Unfortunately, Bruce Lee already has it.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, maybe it's under copyright. In Japan, nobody cares. They do parodies and... I guess this was back in the early 2000s when nothing left Japan, so they could get away with this stuff. I think today it's probably a lot harder. The lawyers will catch on to you because they got that AI translation software now. Let's see here. This episode is directed by Hiroshi Kimura. This is his only episode. He's worked on a couple of other anime productions, most notably Beyblade, Metal Fusion, Barome.
Let it rip!
You like that show? I don't know anything about Beyblade. All I know is that it was a popular toy.
All I know is that's the tagline. Beyblade.
All I know is, according to Beyblade Moses used a Beyblade to part the Red Sea. That's all I know.
All I know is the catchphrase, let it rip.
All I know is that it's a toy. Anyway, let's continue. Barome-1 is another, I guess, another production he worked on. Then Akane Mannix as an episode director and a storyboard artist for a show called Baby Steps. This is all I could find on this guy. This episode, again, was written by Masahiko Shiraishi, the writer of that unforgettable, forgettable Tornado X episode that we all loved. So that's the pedigree for this one. So without further ado, the synopsis. In this story, Knuckles gets a tip from his human friend, Hawk, about a red Chaos Emerald, but it turns up to be a setup. After escaping a trap together, the two return to where Hawk had actually hidden the emerald, and just as they find it, Eggman sends in a ninja robot E91 to cause chaos. The place collapses mid-battle, and they manage to escape. The next day, Knuckles discovers the Shovel Claw, which inspires him to dig up the emerald properly, but as soon as he finds it, Hawk is kidnapped. Knuckles heads off to rescue him and trade the emerald, but things take a turn when Rouge the Bat swoops in and snatches it. What follows is what you called a chaotic chase, and the emerald switches hands, E91 reappears, and in the end, Knuckles defeats her and secures the emerald. He parts ways with Hawk, promising that they'll always be friends. As he sails away, the emerald reacts, and Knuckles briefly finds himself before the Master Emerald, hearing the mysterious phrase, the servers are, or the Sephirers? Help me out here.
The servers are the 7 chaos.
You remember the servers? Servers. I'm thinking like servers, like Discord servers. I'm like, wait, am I reading this right? This is what I wrote down.
Let me ask you this, Radrey. How long has it been since you've played Sonic Adventure?
Since 2021. That's how long it's been.
Okay.
The servers are this is from Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, it's this episode in a weird way is like a prequel to Sonic Adventure, because that's where the Shovel Claws debuted as the Knuckles' first power-up in Sonic Adventure, and of course, the voice telling Knuckles that's Tikal. Tikal has entered the chat, and that's the first line of the Tikal prayer. The servers are the 7 chaos. Chaos is power, enrich in the heart. The server is the one who unifies the chaos. Yada, yada, yada. So, in a weird way, we got a little Sonic Adventure in this, even though Sonic was not in it at all.
Yeah.
Little tidbit on that ending. Apparently on the initial, when this first aired, it originally said 7 Chaos Emeralds, the mystery would be revealed. That was later changed in subsequent airings.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. I did not know that detail. Yeah, so he's like snapped back to reality. That's pretty much the end of the episode. I kind of tried to make these synopsises a bit more succinct this time. So I guess I'll go through, hey, maybe I should ask you guys thoughts on this episode. Since Neon's our guest, let's have him go first. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Of all of Sonic X, with the exception of the adaptations, this is probably one of the best episodes in the entire show. At least with season 1, I would say.
Wow, that's some praise.
Well, you would think it's a bit weird to say that, I realize, but compared to everything prior where it's, here's Sonic doing this, here's Sonic doing this, here's Sonic doing this, and there's no build-up of a plot, we then get to a Knuckles episode, and we actually not only are we doing something with Knuckles, which at this time, Knuckles was an odd character, because if the Master Emerald's not involved, why is he here? For context, SA2, technically, you can remove Knuckles, and the story really doesn't change.
Yeah.
Except you kind of need him for the end.
Yeah, but it's like, up until that point, what is he doing? He's kind of, you can, like, with the exception of the end, you can omit him and it doesn't change. And even when the Master Emerald's not present, he's in the story. It's, why are you here? Aren't you supposed to be protecting the Master Emerald? Like, are you on your 7-day rotation, Knuckles? What's going on here? It's
He
how.
was technically looking for the shards because he broke it.
Yeah, but then you get to like Sonic Heroes, and it's like, why is he here?
Yeah, look, I can't argue that, but that was, that's Sega being Sega. They're like, oh yeah, he's got to protect the Master Emerald till he doesn't need to, when we say so.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
like, is he on a 7-on, 7-off rotate? Is he on a rotation, or is it like? Anyway, with the exception of the comics, which, enough said, Knuckles is this odd. How do you use him? Because you have to have the Master Emerald, but not every story needs or use the Master Emerald. So it's, how do you get him into the plot? And in this case, technically, yes, Master Emerald, because he's trying to get back, but they do something with him. We actually get something with the character. And on top of that, we're also showing more world building and intrigue, and what starts out being pretty much a kung fu action episode goes into a, well, how exactly did the Shuffleclaw end up on the human world? How is this connected to Mobius? Is there some intrigue? Did Mobius encounter Earth in the past? Is Earth Mobius in the future or the past? What is this? We're starting to get some kind of continuity and world building. And it's not just, oh, Sonic's here. There's a little substance here. And we don't get that until much later. That's kind of what I like about this episode. We're dealing with Knuckles and world building. And then it ends.
Then it ends.
Other than that, I was just intrigued by the setting. I thought they were doing a reference to the Kowloon Walled City. No, this is more of a reference to just Kung Fu, since the Japanese name is a reference to a Bruce Lee film, so...
The name of the city is Orient City. That's what they said in Japanese. So, yeah.
Or Oriental
Funny.
City. I mean, I guess my subtitle said Oriental City, but
Well, I heard them, like, the voices in Japanese say Orient City. So I'm like...
it's probably. I mean, I had to listen to these really quickly because I didn't have much time this week. But yes.
Are we gonna address the elephant in the room?
There's an elephant in the room?
Or let me rephrase that. Are we gonna address the Wade Whipple in the room? Hawk is Wade. Hawk is freaking Wade Whipple. Like, is there I was watching this episode. It's like, okay, treasure hunting, typical Knuckles stuff. Oh, look, they're in, what is Sonic X version of Central America. Oh, cool. It's one of the, Echidna pyramids. I heard about a treasure. Oh, wait. Who's this blundering fat guy? Hawk. Why does he look familiar? 5-10 minutes later, he rescues him again. It's like from the cage. I'm like, holy fuck, it's Wade. This is Wade. Hawk is the OG Wade Whipple. And I think if people would realize this, they might write Knuckles the Kinda series an apology, because this is hilarious. I think it's funny as hell.
Or maybe, just maybe, they took notes. Or was it the Knuckles?
They took notes, did Jeff Fowler and company, though he wasn't a writer, did the writers for, the Knuckles series actually watch Sonic X and take notes? And like, what if we took Wade, our blundering, co-sheriff, and turned him into this one random human guy from this Sonic X TV show that, it's a variant of the, corporate wants to ask you what's the difference between two things. It's like it's the same. Hawk is Wade, Wade is Hawk. Their dynamic with Knuckles is basically the same. That all being said, another wonderful episode. Like this, to me, up with the Rouge's introduction, they've been the best episodes of the series so far. There's a crap ton of fun little references. Obviously, the biggest, you have Robot 91, which in Japanese would be Kunoichi, which of course Kunoichi is a female ninja.
I didn't pick that up.
Robot.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I hate Japanese wordplay.
I have to know. Why do you hate that? Why do you hate Japanese wordplay? Tell me. It's too cute for you?
No, I'm not. My brain is very literal. So if you start doing like numbers and say, "Oh, it's this," I go, "Oh, okay. Oh, it's a reference to this," and I'm like, "Oh, it's like Darth Vader him now, force choke him, throw him out, throw him into the Tiber. How dare he make a pun?"
Yeah, no.
Well,
Japan.
How dare this entire language make a pun?
Yeah.
I think that's 95% of Japanese humor is puns.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah,
it
there's
really
slapstick.
fucking is.
Oh, they would hate me. They'd make a joke and I'd just stare. Okay, well, what's the punchline? And then they'd have to go, and then it would have to become a linguistics class. And I go, okay, I hate this language. And I'm trying to learn it.
It's also, there's a great, they have a Cutie Honey reference when there's like...
Do they?
I think, yeah, so like, I think they admit it from the dub because why would the target demographic of Sonic X in America be watching Cutie Honey?
Mm-hmm.
But in the sub, in the Japanese, they did when the robot was talking, like, sometimes I'm a rickshaw girl, sometimes I'm this, but in truth I am blah blah blah, which is Cutie Honey's introduction because she can kind of shapeshift and whatnot. And
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sometimes she's a rickshaw dancer, a rickshaw user. Other times she's a sexy dancer. That was the omitted line.
yeah, there you go, exactly.
Something
Cutie
like
Honey
that.
is a character who she transforms from various things and has big boobs, so hey.
Oh.
A couple things I also want to bring up just in terms of hilarious 4Kids editing. Knuckles walks into the bar and they turn it into a Burger King, basically. Like, it's just like they edited out like the alcohol on the wall to make it look like a freaking like burger menu.
I mean, have you seen the bootleg fast food restaurants in some of these places? It kind of fits.
You're not wrong. It's true. It does remind me of when I was in Vietnam, but it was pretty great. It's also kind of funny because, like, Knuckles is just walking around. Now, again, like we've talked about, Knuckles has just been doing his own thing. So, like, people know about Sonic, and I think some kid goes like, "Hey, it's Sonic," or "Your Sonic friend's like, "I'm not his friend. We don't all look alike."
Everybody's
just,
Amy now.
Classic, yeah, everyone's Amy now. Another funny thing, because Rouge is in this episode. Now, Radrey, you and I talked about this last week, and I say this because I'm editing the last part.
Yes.
Of the episode. We talked about how in the assault on Eggman's base, because you had Rouge in her little ninja outfit teaming up with Knuckles. And we talked about how it was kind of weird that obviously in the games they didn't meet till Adventure Sonic Adventure 2 because that was Rouge's debut game. But obviously Rouge is in this show so early, they've kind of been like super coy with her and Knuckles, like not officially introducing them, even though they're like sharing a bunch of the same scenes. It's much like in this episode, like she's tailing them, trying to steal steal the Red Chaos Emerald, but she's always like distracted or knocked away from Knuckles right when things about to like go down. So it was kind of funny. She also uses a flare gun, so Knuckles, Rouge is packing heat, and not just what she usually is packing.
One of of the few times a firearm is actually used as a firearm in the English dub.
Exactly.
Before anyone corrects me, flare guns are firearms. I've seen enough. You can turn them into. Actually, I'm not going to say any more. We don't need to be on the list. But yeah, no, it's yeah. This
Hey, it
is
was
like
the
one of the
4th
few
of July.
times a
You can get away
firearm
with
is
it.
used like a firearm.
Yes, yeah, we're recording this on for evening of July 5th, so we're kind of on that 4th of July weekend where everything's exploding. Fun fact: in my hometown, like we've had this 80-year-old feed and grain that just caught on fire last night and was burning into today. So everything's
Grain
on fire.
Dust explosions are no joke.
No, they are not. So, back to the episode. I really like this. It's so far the only episode without Sonic and Chris, which probably at least bumps it up to fine. I gave it a great, almost peak fiction. The fact that they were able to tie in the Echidna lore, the fact that we were able to start sprinkling in Tikal and the old Chaos visions from Sonic Adventure, the fact that this is OG Wade, and I hope we should definitely put that in the thumbnail. Wade and Hawk, one and the same. But yeah, I really enjoy this. There was nothing that took me out of it. I mean, I guess we did forget to mention that old Boko and Deco, or Goldie and Silver, or whatever the fuck their names are. They're chilling out in the bar in trench coats, seeing Knuckles walk in, reported to Eggman, so Eggman shows up. But
Wait, who
yeah,
are they supposed to
that's
be?
about it.
What did you say?
Bokun and Dekun. Boku Deku are
They're not
undercover.
the robot lackeys. They're
Right,
like
right.
in trench coats.
What is that in a like? There's like a parody or something to something else?
I mean-
in a lot of shows, if you want to show a character undercover, you usually put them in a trench coat and fedora.
right.
Case in point, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
I was just about to say that.
Okay.
Although it's interesting, between the English and the Japanese dub, if I remember correctly, one of them they were a bit surprised to see Knuckles and weren't expecting him, and in the other they're like, "Uh-oh, this isn't good." But I don't know.
Okay.
It was a good episode regardless.
Yeah.
Well, did you like the episode, Radrey?
Yeah, no, I really like this episode. I mean, it's like I started watching this and like this is interesting. Starts off kind of like with this film noir kind of opening where it has this like kind of it made me start to think of
Flashback.
like yeah, it reminded me of this like The Exorcist or like Hellraiser where like they start off and they go to this like small town. Yeah, I don't know why I'm using those as examples, but for some reason it reminds me of those movies where like it starts off and like they're setting up these like ancient ruins or these like hieroglyphics that have these ancient meanings or something because they're very mysterious.
I'd say it's very Indiana Jones pulpy.
Oh yes,
Very pulp.
yeah, I can dig this. And then they introduced this character Hawk, which I think was cool. I mean, he's basically what's that called? Like Big Trouble in Little China or something? Like the sidekick character. Yeah, the Hong Kong sidekick character that unlocks a mysterious force or something. But he's kind of bumbling and I don't know. Maybe a Big Trouble in Little China is a bad example, but I feel like he's definitely like the sidekick, foolish character. Maybe that's why it works so well with Wade Wimple. I don't know how they came up with this character or who he's based on.
Yeah, it is hilarious because, like, as a Big Trouble in Little China savant, that is my favorite movie of all time. I've seen it too many times. Where that is kind of the subversion of where Jack, even though he's the main hero, he is the bumbling sidekick. So he's the sidekick to Wang Chi. They play it straight with this, with Knuckles being the main guy and then Hawk being the sidekick.
Yeah.
But it is kind of in that a lot of that kung fu pulpy. There's that Indiana Jones pulpy, with the artifacts. It's a lot of the fun stuff that makes Knuckles a fun character because he can, I mean, goddamn, like if you just gave him the hat, this would be like almost a perfect episode, really. Um, you know, you can tell different stories with him than you can with Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So again, plus there's no Chris.
Yeah, no, I started watching this episode and I'm like, wow, why can't all episodes be like this one? Why can't we just have all of the episodes just be one character, one story or something, you know? I mean, I'm not I'm a person who hates, serialized television. I love serialized television, but for me, this one is like, wow, this is what I want, one little adventure
When you
story.
get a big ensemble cast, it can be tricky because some characters get a lot of screen time, some characters don't get a lot of screen time.
Right.
And usually in most of these cases, you're juggling Chris, Sonic, Tails, Amy, Grandpa Chuck, Cream, yada yada. Whereas like with the Knuckles, for the most part, sometimes he'll pop up with the others, but sometimes it'll just be him. Or like him and Rouge chasing after him, trying to get a Chaos Emerald. So it's one of those funny things, like with Rouge and Knuckles, where since they're quasi removed from Sonic, they actually get all the focus time.
Mm-hmm.
So you can dive into the characters. You can give them that character development. Kind of ironic in a way, really.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I have any other notes? I wrote down in one of my notes is, LOL, this is actually well directed. I also wrote down that I'm guessing this is taking place in Hong Kong, because all the signs are at least in the sub, they're all written in like Chinese, or because I can't read Cantonese. I mean, I can't even really read Mandarin either. But
that's why I assumed it was the Kowloon walled city, because this obviously feels Chinese coded, and when it's like that, they tend to go Hong Kong, and like a lot of Hong Kong action films used to be in the Kowloon walled city. So
right. Because I'm watching this, right, and I'm thinking, is it racist for Japan to call Hong Kong Oriental City? I mean, at least in the subtitle, that's what the name that comes up. Or I guess you said, I didn't hear in katakana, it says Orient City. I don't know. It sort of reminds me of like, Street Fighter 2, where, you could tell Japan really doesn't get out of its own country. The way they view the rest of the world.
Excuse me. It's one thing that is kind of, if you're in the U.S. and, a lot of this stuff, we so much focus on our own stuff at times that, we're always kind of at, the butt, or the, we're kind of at the forefront a lot of these, criticisms of how we treat other countries, other ethnicities, etc., etc. But at the same time, I think some people don't get out much and realize that for as bad as the U.S. is and can be, everyone else kind of also treats each other like crap as well. So, and it's. Let's just say, being, I don't want to say xenophobic, because it's not really applies to this, but kind of
very much is that. It's xenocentric, you said?
Yeah, I was going to say, but if you think it's xenophobic, I mean, you're the one in Japan. You have a better grip than I do.
I would, yeah. Well, because, when it comes to, like, racism, right, there's, like, two different types of racism. I mean, I guess, well, not two different types. I shouldn't be talking about this. I'm way under-equipped for this. But I'll tell you one thing. Based upon my experience living in Japan, it doesn't come from malice. The sort of quote-unquote racist undertones. It's not out of malice. It's mostly from ignorance. So it's a lot based on, as you said, xenophobia. It's not that they hate you or like they despise you or anything, or they're trying to demean you or anything. So a lot of it comes from purely ignorance.
I'll,
Yes.
I was going to say, if you want to see the difference between how this show treats this city and how it treats another, there's an episode later on, I think it's the Chow episode, where they show Sonic running around a Japanese-style city. And I'll say to you guys and to the viewers, compare and contrast how they treat those two settings.
Okay.
How they treat this Knuckles in this Oriental City and Sonic in pretty much Japantown. I'm just as a little bit of homework for the viewers and for people for out there.
Okay.
That's actually, that's episode 22. I haven't watched it yet, but I know that's episode 22, so we'll be covering that next time.
Yes. The other notes I had here is Wade seems to call Knuckles, like, I'm not even sure if he's saying "sheshe," like thank you in Chinese, or if he's calling him sensei. Did you pick up at any of this?
I didn't.
Because I couldn't tell, because he kept referring, because there's one part where like I don't know if he was saying Knuckles thank you or Knuckles my teacher, right? Which is really strange.
No, he's, according to Bing, the translation, "sheshe" is Chinese simplified for thank you.
Yes. So I don't know if which one they were trying to go for, because it definitely sounds like sensei in one of them. Because I could totally.
I think there's how Hawk kind of treats, how he treats, Knuckles, and kind of much how, like, if you think how Wade, Knuckles was teaching Wade the ways of the warrior, it kind of, I would say, Knuckles, calling him Knuckles Sensei, would make as much sense as anything else, either thank you or sensei. I'd believe either one.
That's what I'm saying. I think it both checks out narratively, but that's just one.
Yay to wordplay.
Yeah. The other.
It's another pun. It's another pun.
It is another pun. Yeah, they love their puns. Get used to it, I guess. Especially if you're playing Yokai Watch. I think that's one of the reasons why that game never took off in the U.S. Anyway.
Or Digimon.
They never really took off. I mean, well, Digimon didn't really take off.
No, I meant Digimon has a lot. Digimon has a lot of puns.
Oh, okay, all right.
If you look at any of the names, they all have they're like references.
Oh.
Except weirdly Gatomon. But that's anyway. Back to Sonic.
Okay. Yeah. They are Sonic adjacent, mind you, our listeners. Well, let's see here. I've noticed that they pick up on the shovel claws. That's from Sonic Adventure 1, yeah? The shovel claws upgrade.
Yeah, that is Knuckles' first power up. Allows him to dig.
Is it? I'm not sure. I mean, in the game, they're just kind of there. They're just sitting there as like a random power up. That like it's a very game mechanic. Here, it's like, forgive me, it's been a moment. Where does he find them? They're just laying inside like a storage closet.
So basically, what it was is that was the relic Knuckles was looking for in Central America when he found Hawk, but apparently, like, Hawk found them and stashed them away.
Oh, those were relics? Those
yeah, like the shovel claw is like a relic.
Okay. They don't really look like ancient relics. They look like something that was produced in a factory. But okay.
Well, I mean, they could have been produced in a factory and left a long time, and yet they're still pristine.
Okay.
World building. I'm joking.
I know. It feels like such a video game thing, right? Like Knuckles learned punch. you know. But
I mean, in Sonic
Eliminated based
Adventure,
on
when you
video
got
game franchise.
well, I mean, to be fair, in Sonic Adventure, when you got the shovel claw, you got trapped, and the only way to out was to get a demolition charge to destroy the key that was in the cage.
Monkey elimination switch. Or monkey
Yeah,
destruction switch.
at least it's a lot better than the boxing gloves.
okay.
They're yellow.
What are the boxing
Exactly.
gloves?
They were another
It has to-
power up that it was an optional
Oh, that's
one that you
right.
could find that gave you like the maximum heat attack if you charged up your energy.
So it's just a power-up.
Spoiler alert, all it did was if you were fighting one of, I think, Chaos 6, it gave you extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's what?
it's a bonus item. It's like Big's Lures. You get it for completion's sake.
Okay. All right. My only other note for this episode is when Knuckles is on the boat home. Does Knuckles get high off the chaos, the Chaos Emerald? Because it seems like he's starting to see things while, like, touching the emerald. That's the only thing I got.
Well, see, that was the whole thing with like Sonic Adventure was that like as you progress through everyone's stories, and Knuckles obviously being Tikal's descendant had the most is, she would instigate these, visions. And so, and that's kind of like the Yojimbo nature of Sonic Adventure where you gotta play every character. Obviously, you have to play every character to get to the final story, which is Supersonic. But as you play through that, you each get a little snapshot into what happened in the past and what ultimately accumulated in the destruction of the Knuckles clan, save for Knuckles' direct ancestors, because Knuckles had eventually come from somewhere, unless he kept getting reborn out of the Master Emerald. But that's a discussion theory for another time.
All right. Well,
For all we know, Knuckles is on 7-on-7 rotation. There's another echidna that just randomly appears. Who knows?
my headcanon says that Knuckles is a crackhead, and he gets these emeralds to get high.
I see you too have seen that SA2 theory.
Oh no, I didn't know it was a theory. I just made that up right now. I mean, a friend of mine, we used to joke about how like he would just hang out near the Knuckles, or he would just hang out near the Master Emeralds because he loved getting high. And like a friend of mine, he's a big Knuckles fan. He used to say, "Man, I'd love to see Knuckles do something other than just be a crackhead, just sit next to the Master Emerald, all the time." I don't
Knuckles
know.
was gonna go to an adventure, but then he got high.
To quote the Snap Cute thing, the weed crystal, and then there's that SA2 theory, which this is outside of the scope of this. All I'll say is watch my review of SA2. I link the theory in the description.
Oh. Okay.
And then you question, what the is this?
Huh. So I guess without further ado, do you want to jump into the next episode? Episode 18?
Absolutely.
I will say one thing.
Yes.
This is not the last time we see Hawk. This is not
really?
the last time we see him.
Yeah, we'll see him in season 2.
Yeah,
Oh.
briefly.
Huh.
But
Okay.
he is there.
Interesting. Because I
But,
gave up on Sonic X after season 2. So,
To be fair, it's during the Sonic Battle adaptation, and they don't really adapt Sonic Battle. It's the tournament arc.
Oh, right. I remember
All
they
3
had
episodes.
a weird adaptation. So, I gotta say, I enjoyed these slew of episodes a lot better than, previously.
You seem a lot more engaged than you were last week, Radrey. The previous
that's-
5 were.
Yeah, those hurt
Though
me.
I'm gonna be honest, episode 18 is about on par with last week's episodes, in my opinion.
I did not hate this next
Yeah.
episode, but we'll get into it.
Yeah. I'll
Yes,
say about
folks,
17. 6
Sonic,
out of 5.
Tails, and Chris are about to bless the rains down in Africa. Do 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 do.
All right, so episode 18, also known as The Damn Scam. That's literally the title.
Woo!
Not damn with an N. There's no N in the damn. so we won't get demonetized. Actually, I don't know. I don't think
That
YouTube.
damn fourth Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, I don't think "damn" actually is considered a cuss word, according to YouTube. I think I saw that somewhere. In Japanese, it's called Sabana no Daiketo, also known as Huge Shootout on the Savannah. This episode is directed.
Shootout.
That's what the translations call. I don't know keto. I don't know what that means. I guess shootout or like something falls out, or I don't really know this kanji. This one I don't know. I've never seen this one before. I know this one. The first kanji on ke, like ketsu, that's like a decision. But this other one, I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. It's like gate closed, and there's beans, and I don't know. Yeah, I can read a lot of
Shootout
kanji.
on the Savannah, yeah.
Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm reading this wrong, or the translation's wrong. But that's what I got. This episode.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
That's what you
That's
got
what I'm
too?
seeing as well. So,
Okay. Yeah, there's no.
granted,
no
I'm going
guns.
off of a wiki, so
I don't remember any guns in this episode. That's for sure. Or maybe there was, and I wasn't paying attention. I was like watching this half awake. But anyway, this episode is directed by Makoto Moriwaki. I guess, get ready for this one. Best known for the creator of Animal House. Just kidding. Animaru ni ya. Known as, I guess they rechanged it to Ekuda Anime, or Ekuda Animal Animation Studio, which helped to produce the first Doraemon movie. And she did a lot of Doraemon, like a lot. I don't know why they hired this person to direct this one in particular, but maybe they just needed an extra hand, or they needed somebody to... You know, one thing, I would love to talk to an animation director and actually talk about what is it that goes into directing an anime episode. Or not just anime, just animation in general. But I imagine just to make sure the trains run on time. I don't know.
I needed to pay bills.
You needed to what?
I was jokingly saying that they would answer like, I needed to pay bills.
Oh, right. Again, this episode's written by Masaki Hiro, who writes most of these episodes. This episode kicks off in the savannah with Sonic, Tails, and Chris flying in the X-Tornado until Eggman shows up and fires missiles at them. Sonic counters by launching himself straight through Eggman's ship, which explodes, damaging the X-Tornado in the process and forcing them to crash land. While Tails works and repairs, he opens up about his dream about building a workshop near Station Square, hence Sonic Adventure. And Chris shares that he wants to be a zoologist, and that the two of them bond while stranded. Chris and Tails, and Sonic somewhere else. Meanwhile, Eggman's also crashed and sends Deco and Boko. Is that their names? Help me out.
Boku and Dekun. Boku
Dekun, not Warbot Cubot. After often a massive ape-shaped mech called Goru Gua. I can't remember the name. Defines Sonic. If you remember, we got to have a thing at the end of this, like the most memorable Eggman robots. Like, which ones do you remember that weren't Deco and Boko, or whatever their hell names are?
Boku Deku.
Why can't I remember this? Boku and Deku.
Because they're not worth remembering.
Maybe that's why. So cut this
Think about it. Orbot, Cubot. It's simple.
bootleg Orbot Cubot, or adult Orbot Cubot.
They're a Japanese manzai routine that doesn't get to do the routine.
Is that what they are? They're a Manzai routine? Okay.
In theory.
I guess that makes sense. They do have a real, fucking, what is it? Schlocky back and forth in the next episode, or 2 episodes later with Eggman. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. You cut to Sonic, who's then running through the savannah as he has a brief moment with a cheetah. And naturally, Sonic's faster. And Tails and Chris encounter workers building a dam, and then they learn that the project is putting local wildlife in danger. When the workers dismiss their concerns, Tails is reminded of his own past about how he was bullied before meeting Sonic, and we get a sweet flashback of how their friendship started with a plane and a shared love of speed and color. Back in the present, Tails and Chris rally the animals and expose the dam plans to locals and putting the stop to the construction for now. But the workers hatch a shady plan to flood the area by starting fires. Meanwhile, Sonic ends up being hunted by this robot, man. Go to Gua. God damn it.
Donkey Kong the robot.
God damn it. It made me fucking say this. But anyway, go on. Donkey Kong the robot.
I mean, he's got like optical camouflage, but about it. It's a weird. I mean, are you still giving the summary, or can we talk about this?
I'm almost done. The summary's almost done. Yeah. Then he uses like a cloaking tech to stay hidden, which is kind of cool, I guess. After taking a few hits. What?
I said like cloaking, like the Predator.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of fun. I mean, but these robots, man, they're so bad. They're like so forgettable. Anyway, after taking a few hits, Sonic figures out the robot's stealth trick and regains the upper hand. Eventually, Sonic, Chris, and Tails reunite just in time for the final showdown, with some quick thinking and a ring toss from Tails, and Sonic takes down Godu Gua in I can't believe they're making me fucking say that, in an explosive finish. Eggman tries to step in himself, but is quickly defeated, and he sends Bo-kun with one last message and a failed tap dance, and the gang laughs it off. In the end, the workers are arrested, the savannah is safe, and the episode closes with a peaceful sunset and a feeling that, for once, even Eggman accidentally did something good. End of episode. So, again, since you're our guest, Neon, thoughts on this episode?
Actually, a couple. Some little minor things before I get to some of the big notice observations. One, Sonic canonically knows how to speak to animals. If you watch the Japanese dub, and you have to watch it, you can't listen, the cheetah will actually speak, but it's only in subtitles. And in the discotheque release, it is translated, and the cheetah is saying, you have to go at the speed of light or something. And it's implied Sonic can understand what the cheetah is saying. So canonically, Sonic can speak animal. Take that as you will. And I suppose he has the animal lover perk, not animal friend perk from Fallout. That's the weird thing. Other observation, when I thought this episode referenced Bark, the polar bear. I think that's another episode. But one of the Mobians that was bullying Tails was a fox. And what caught me off guard with that is that design, I think, reappeared later in a classic Sonic animation.
Yeah.
Only it was two foxes bullying Tails.
Yeah, so basically they would use this in Sonic Origin in those animated cut scenes, for, to kind of separate, because like in Origins it goes classic, CD, and then Sonic 2, which, let's be honest, makes zero sense, but then again, so does Sega. But, and then, kind of, he goes in and says, oh yeah, and then, you got these two foxes that picking on Tails, because, oh, you have two tails, you're a freak, you're a mutant. And, then kind of just it gets to the case of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna, chillax. And then, Sonic runs by, they stop bugging him, and then, Tails chases after him, and, the rest is history.
It intrigues me that I doubt they looked at Sonic X for the design to use in Origins, but it was like, this is weird. I wasn't expecting to see that this early in Sonic's life in the series. But then again, it's weird what companies will have in the vault in their archives. Other observations. I didn't remember that when I first watched this as a kid. I don't remember the workers having Russian accents, and hearing it now, it's which weirdly makes the English dub more topical than the Japanese dub. For two reasons. One, for those who don't know, back and during the early 2000s, there was a bit of an issue of you kind of want to be leery of Russian investments, because if you invest in an investment in Russia, there's a high chance that it would fold or collapse or get nationalized, and now you're out of an investment. But it was also the other way, which was you kind of want to be leery if they're investing in if they come to invest in your area, because they might take the money, build an infrastructure project, and then 3 years later it either folds or it's of terrible quality. Which in the context of the story fits. Hey, we got some Russian guys building a dam in the middle of nowhere. What?
Not even on a river. Not even on a river.
And I doubt the writers were referencing, again, Russian history. There's a lake in Russia that it used to be the biggest lake in the world, one of the biggest lakes in the world, but due to Soviet irrigation projects, it pretty much dried out into nothing. I doubt they're referencing that in here, but it's interesting. But what makes this at least interesting to me nowadays, as of this review, there's a certain mercenary company from Russia that does operate in Africa doing these kind of little things. So it's, to me, weirdly, back in the day, this was kind of relevant, and nowadays, at least present, it's still relevant. It to the point that I would say if a certain nation wanted to do something, I would say, air this episode or take screen grabs and make a comic and just add a certain symbol and just, If I'm being cagey, it's because I don't want to mess with a certain dictator.
Fair, very fair.
But again, it was interesting. Last thing I'll say is this is the equivalent of a enemy team up episode. If you watched any of the cartoons from the if you watch an episode from the 80s, you'll usually have a show from the 80s. You'll usually have an episode where the good guys and the bad guys team up to take on drugs. Like, you can understand why G.I. Joe's doing it, but Cobra, they'll nuke Russia, they'll spread disease, they'll destroy currency. But when it comes to cocaine, they don't play around. That's the line they'll draw.
I'd say that's
the line they stop.
I would say that goes just beyond stuff like, there's always the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, what would bring Spider-Man and Venom to work together? Carnage. Yeah, these are very typical. Like, even SA2 saw, all the characters go, "Oh yeah, we better do something, or we're all gonna effing die." So, villain hero team ups, but this would be very inadvertently, because it was almost kind of kind of hilarious that you actually inadvertently helped us.
Yeah, but it's more of a, the villain will destabilize countries or spread disease, but when it comes to drugs, which compared to everything else they'll do, it's kind of low on that order. It's like, at least that was the feeling to me of just, that they're paying attention to this thing. We know what Eggman can do, and this is like you said, it's an inadvertent team up. But to me, it felt like one of those weird G.I. Joe and Cobra teaming up to take on drugs, even though we know that what Cobra can do. Like I said, they'll use a weather dominator, but they'll draw the line at drugs.
Fair.
I don't know. That's just my feel on it.
Retreat. Sonic Coast to Coast Cobra, podcast is Cobra propaganda. All hail our glorious leader, Cobra Commander. Cobra! I'm sorry.
But yeah, this is outside of that. You can almost skip this episode.
Like I said, I thought this episode was dumb. Like the highlight was Sonic like doing the not Naruto, the Mario run with his hands out, going la 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 through the savannah, and then just kind of really playing around with Donkey Kong the robot, Mecha Kong, if you will. Like I said, like I think it feels like the whole reason this episode exists was basically to just try to show Tails' backstory. Maybe. I don't know.
It was definitely
okay,
like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other notes, Melzilla?
No, I wasn't a huge fan of this attempt to blow us the reins down.
I actually have a lot of notes in
Yeah.
this episode. Like a lot.
I find this hilarious. Me goes into geopolitics. Melzilla, brains down in Africa. Radrey, I got a lot of notes. What the?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess first and foremost, I guess what I could say is, this episode was okay. I didn't hate it. It's not like the last 5 episodes that we watched that was like me wanting to pull out my eyes out. I don't know what it is that drove me crazy about those episodes. It's like if I was a kid and I stumbled across those first couple of 5 episodes, I'd be like, fuck this show, man. I don't want to watch this. I'd rather watch Kirby or something with that, that feels like the game. I mean, heck, I would even argue this doesn't even feel like the game, really. I mean, tell me that this show feels like the game. Does this feel like the game for you? Do you feel, man, this is so Sonic game? Anybody?
I mean,
yeah.
Last episode notwithstanding.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they fight in the later episodes. I got nothing. I'm stalling for time here.
Okay, so basically, I got crickets. I can say. I mean, anybody in the comments, please say you feel like, man. I feel like
they gave us Tails' backstory. That's what this episode did.
Right.
In a really convoluted way. Where it's like, it feels like if the whole point was to do that, they could have done that like in the first couple episodes, like Tails explaining his story to like Chris and Chuck. But I guess now is the time to do it as they do their little world tour. But yeah, I gave this episode a meh. Not even it's fine. This was just a meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sort of like wondering. I'm sitting here watching these episodes, and I'm like, does this give me the experience of playing the game? I don't really think so. But I mean, of course, yes. Of course, you don't playing the game and watching a show are two different experiences.
Have to wonder if they use some of this as inspiration for Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That was technically Sonic World Adventure.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You're talking about how this is related to Sonic Unleashed?
Yeah, because Sonic's Unleashed Japanese title was Sonic World Adventure, and it's him traveling around the world. You had that one Africa level.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I see. All right. Let's see. So my notes are as follows. Did Grandpa Chuck only get passports for Sonic and Friends so that they would have an excuse to go places? So the writers could, have... because I guess they needed a lot of filler. Did, like, the production team order a certain number of episodes? And like, oh, shit, what do we write about? I don't know, make an episode where they have passports and so they can go to Africa, and experience life in Africa. Or, what Japan thinks Africa is. That's one of my notes. There's also one really weird 3D sequence in this, like with the X tornado. I'm like, did they blow like half the animation budget on this thing? Because I don't think they reused this animation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
There's one scene where like the X
What?
tornado falls, and like they use this like animation that's like so, it doesn't match the aesthetic at all. I feel like nobody knows
rewatch
what I'm
the
talking
episode, I'll
about.
look.
What?
If I rewatch the episode, I'll look for that.
Okay.
Now you have me curious.
Yeah, no, I remember watching this thinking that. Other things I wrote down is this is like an episode of Doraemon where he used the Dokodemodor to like get a filtered experience of what like first world people think Africa is, and the continent of Africa. Because most people don't realize that Africa is not a country. It's a bunch of it's a continent with a bunch of countries.
25 countries.
Yeah.
Wakanda is not a real country.
Wakanda forever. Well, maybe Wakanda is real, and the reason we don't know is because they're good at hiding. Maybe the Black Panther does exist.
Yeah. Let's see. Tails also says that this environment is similar to where he's from. And this led me to believe, do the Sonic movies take notes from the show? Like more so from the show than like, let's say, Sad-Am, Adventures, or Boom? Did you see several moments in like the Sonic movies that say, where, oh man, they must have pulled this from Sonic X or Sad-Am or Adventures of or Boom?
Oh, not really.
Okay.
Save for Wade being Hawk, but that was kind of after I realized it.
Yeah, because it makes it sound like this environment is where Tails is from. And, thank you. Whatever the notification was.
That was my phone. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I can turn it off.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We live in a world where everybody wants our attention 24/7. I get it. I get it. What is it?
Society.
Yeah, right. Fuck society. Now it's time to talk about Tails and where he's from. Tails says he wants to find an area near here to make his workstation. Hint Sonic 1, as I said prior. I just find it interesting that I think if I remember correctly, in the movie, he says that he's from an environment where there's not much in his area, and like he's the only nerd in the quote-unquote area. But
basically, if you go to Sonic 2, the movie, he talks like he didn't really have a whole lot of friends because
right.
he
That's
had
what I'm
2
referencing.
tails. He really didn't really go into detail about like the location and the environment that he grew up. Just the general consensus is that Tails he's usually kind of grown up in a kind of a crappy environment because it's usually the case of he being a mutant. He's just like, oh yeah, there's no one here to hang out with me because they'll make fun of me, yada yada. So, yeah, I mean, I got nothing left to say about this episode. So,
I got a few more here. Let's see. Eggman says he has an IQ of 300 after he electrocutes all the crocodiles in the water. I mean, I guess he figures out a way.
That's him
what?
Having 300 IQ is from the games.
Right. I remember that. But yeah, no, why did I write this down? I forgot why I wrote this note down. It was an interesting tidbit that they include the IQ of him having 300. And for some reason that's related to him electrocuting crocodiles. I also wrote down that the gorilla mech has boobs. Like, did you notice this?
I wasn't paying attention.
They're called pecs. Okay, all right. Forgive me. When Sonic picks up, what is it? The cheetah. Is this where Pat Casey got the idea for like the turtle in the first Sonic movie? That's what it made me think of right away. I swear they probably watch these things. It makes you kind of laugh. You like say, "Wow, Pat Casey watched this," or Idris Elba watched that. So I'm like, wonder what he thinks of all this. It's too bad we don't have like a instant reaction take or like a live reaction from them. There's one part that really made me laugh about how campy it was, like when Tails and Chris are like talking to the adults, and they're trying to like push for this environmental message, government bad, nature good, and then like Tails looks at the animals and they're all standing in unison crying because somehow they know that like the dam is gonna harm them.
The lion's not eating the antelope. It's like,
Yeah. They're all holding hands, and somehow they all knew to be there at that one time because they became very human at that moment. I don't know. To me, this is so campy. This is so camp. But anyway, yes, so Tails has like a flashback about being bullied and having one of his devices being destroyed. And he says,
oh yeah, and then Tails just has the cojones to just go mess with Sonic's plane. Tornado,
yeah, that just happens to be there. I'm like, he didn't build it? It's just there? Okay.
Well, again, I guess it was implied that, Sonic had flown the plane to the area, and that's why he was,
Mm-hmm.
Doing his thing. He was just kind of, gelling like a felon. And then it was going to fly off to the next adventure. Except Tails said, "Ooh, I'm gonna play with this, even though it's not mine." Maybe Tails deserves to be bullied. He's just messing with people's stuff. Maybe
That's fair. But Tails then later says, "Everyone bullies me because I'm only good at mechanics." I mean, I know later, like in Sonic Prime, he's supposed to be Tails, but like a programmer, and this is like when Tails becomes the bully, right? I mean, spoilers for Sonic Prime.
9.
Sorry. What?
You mean like 9?
Oh, sorry. 9. That's not Tails. That's 9. Bizarro Tails.
9. Yeah, but, pretty much.
Yeah, but I do think what you said, Malzilla, checks out. This is that he's messing with other people's stuff. Yeah. So Tails thinks that taking all the animals to the city will convince the locals to stop building a dam. I mean, the 90s called. They want their tropes back, This is like, I don't know, like Captain Planet shit. I'm like, what is this episode? I kind of really enjoyed this one because it's like, what is this story? I mean, it just sort of like reminds me, the early 90s where they had like this whole push for environmental messages. But first and foremost, I'm not going to say that protesting doesn't work, but if you protest, the damn people are just going to acquiesce and go home. I couldn't believe they did this. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, sure. Personally, I think if you're going to protest, the protest only ends if like there's something on paper. I guess maybe unless they think that if we just guilt shame everyone, they'll just stop building something. Because my understanding is that the only way certain things stop happening, or like if protesters want to be sick, I'm guessing. Okay, let me ask you guys: is protests actually guilt shame enough people to actually stop destroying the environment? Because I don't think so.
That's a tough. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, well, I don't know. To me, it just kind of made me laugh a little bit. Like, okay, so they guilt shame them to stop building the dam. All right. I mean, I like how in the dub, like Eggman refers to. I'm sorry, the sub, not the dub. The sub, Eggman refers to the businessmen as minor characters. I'm guessing we don't see these guys again, do we?
Nope.
My knowledge.
We don't see them ever again.
All right.
Remember, they got arrested.
That's true. Yeah. I guess when you get arrested, your life's over, according to this show, or most shows, or media, I should say. Well, I guess it depends on how popular the character is. Anyway, I like how in this episode, Sonic defeats Eggman and his floating craft off screen. Did you notice this?
I didn't.
Yeah, see? Well, I don't know. I was a little underwhelmed. Like, we don't get a fight or anything? But then again, I guess we don't get a fight in a lot of these.
Like I said, I wasn't really like.
You
I
weren't.
did not get invested in this one. This one kind of.
It was not your
This
jam,
is
right?
It's not my jammy jam. It's not my raspberry. It's not my blueberry. It's not my strawberry jam.
There's another scene in here where like Bokun starts tap dancing, and like there's like so many weird and awkward moments in this show, and I'm like, is this a cultural thing? Are you supposed to tap dance in Japan as like a joke? Is that funny? I don't understand. Like, is this supposed to be like we need this for runtime or what?
Victory dance, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. That was weird. The last note I got is all these animals look like they're from Kimba the White Lion. You know, that anime by Tezuka.
The first lion cartoon based off Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yep, that's all I got. I didn't hate this episode because I thought it was kind of camp, and I enjoy camp, you know? It wasn't those last 5 episodes, which I don't even remember. I remember one where... Okay, I'll tell you this much. The only thing I remember from those last 5 episodes we watched was Sonic went underwater with a tube in his mouth, and that's literally all I remember. Like, if you held a gun to my head right now, that's all I remember. That's how memorable those episodes were. Anyway, I lay this episode to rest. Should we move on to episode 19?
Let's do it.
Yeah, might as well.
So let's see. Episode 19, Sonic Scream Test, or Kojo no Bode, King Boom Boo, the roughly translated to the ghost of the old castle, King Boom Boo. This episode is directed by Keiko Oyamada, and a Korean name that I hope I'm pronouncing right, Sim Sang-il? Sim Sang-il? I think it's Sim Sang-il. Yep.
Gangster.
What's that?
I was making a joke.
Oh, okay, I couldn't hear you. So Keiko Yamada, or Oyamada, excuse me, best known for Missile Wrist Rampage, Fly Spy, Party Hardly, and Sim Sang-yi, or Il, excuse me. Why do I keep saying E? Anyway, best known for working on 1986's Transformers the movie in the art department.
That's cinema right there.
Okay. And he also
That's what
did...
I'm looking to review at some point.
It's a good one. The Transformers movie. Dare to be Stupid, isn't that?
Dare to be stupid. No,
Yep.
When you have a movie that has the cojones to just kill off the entire old TV show cast and replace it and traumatize an entire generation by killing Optimus Prime, give credit where credit was due. Plus, that soundtrack was amazing. It has the touch. It has the power.
Okay.
It has Orson Welles.
Yes,
does have Orson Welles.
We don't talk about it, but yes, he was in there. He died, like, after voicing that character. After voicing Unicron.
Ma. The French. Where's that French wine commercial he did? Let's see. This person, Sim Sang-il, I think is the name. He also directed 1988's Sparkman, a Korean Sentai type show, and 2004's
Korean Gridman.
You've seen it?
No, I'm just saying, Sparkman remind me of Gridman because Gridman has the spark beam.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Ultraman, but okay.
I mean, it's all Subaraya. It's all Subaraya.
Okay. I mean, this one was in Korea, so I don't know how different that is compared to Subaraya and all the rest of them. But let's see. They also directed 2004's Mujin Wakusei Survive, whatever that is. And he was also additional crew on 2009's Thirst, directed by Park Chan-wook, if you're familiar who that is. Director of Old Boy. Good movie. This person has an interesting pedigree behind Sonic. There's more, but we'll talk more about him later. Another day, because what he brought, I think, because he does more than just Sonic X. I think, if I'm looking at my research right. This episode again was written by Masaki Hiro. So the synopsis is as follows. In this one, Sonic and the gang visit a spooky abandoned castle where Lindsay Thorndike's filming her latest movie. Things seem normal at first until a crew member fiddles with a weird hourglass statue during filming. Every time it's touched or moved, Sonic feels a strange energy surge around him, but no one realizes what's happening yet. Later that night, filming is interrupted by mysterious sounds, and Sonic starts investigating. Meanwhile, the sound guy follows the noise to a wall covered in strange symbols and hears eerie laughter. Sonic finds the discarded hourglass and starts piecing things together. Meanwhile, Lindsay, alone in her room, gets possessed by the reflection of King Boom Boo. The next morning, Lindsay's gone, and the team splits up to find her. Amy, Cream, and Ella discover the same creepy wall from before, but ghostly arms grab them. Sonic arrives with the hourglass just in time, but he and Tails are pulled into the ghostly vortex. Before vanishing, Sonic throws the hourglass to Chris, hinting that it's the key to stopping with whatever's going on. Chris and Amy discover a hidden passage and try to fight fear with logic, thinking it'll weaken the ghosts, but it doesn't work. They do find out that the hourglass can repel the ghosts when held with the moon side up, which leads them deeper into the dungeon. Inside the vortex, Sonic is conscious and tries to warn them, but King Boom Boo distorts his voice, tricking Amy into thinking Sonic just confessed his love. She happily follows his fake instructions, flipping the hourglass the wrong way and accidentally summoning King Boom Boo into the room. Amy gets possessed, chaos breaks out, and Chris realizes the hourglass can reverse everything if flipped to the sun side. It works, everyone's freed, and the ghosts are now solid and vulnerable. With a ring from Tails, Sonic takes down King Boom Boo, but the villains return quickly and starts destroying the castle stairs. Sonic rushes Lindsay to safety, and Chris resets the hourglass, though with the moon side still up. Sonic shrugs it off. The episode wraps with the police and film crew explaining the castle's haunted past. But as the camera pans out, we see some ghosts are still lurking in the walls. End of episode. My Tulpa theory still stands.
strange-
That's all I can say. What?
If there's something strange in the neighborhood, who you gonna call? Not Amy.
Yeah, not Amy. That's for sure. So, Neon, thoughts on this episode?
Sonic didn't have to be present.
Okay.
This could have just been a Amy, Cream, Tails, and Chris episode. You didn't have to have Sonic. You could have easily just say Sonic and Sam are racing off screen, and just nothing's happening. We're not bothering with Sonic right now. He's doing nothing. I do kind of wish that they implied Sonic was either knew how to deal with ghosts or was somewhat knowledgeable on ghosts, because at least with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you do deal with ghosts. There's that infamous stage.
Sandopolis, which is actually really interesting, is because they went for a European castle with this, when in so many times in Sonic it's basically all the all of the ghost levels are traditionally they've all been traditionally Egyptian themed. So it was kind of an interesting switch, and the fact that here we are using Sonic Adventure 2 assets before even Sonic Adventure. Though again, the whole ghost thing and the Eggman period, that was such a minor thing to begin with. It's neat that they were able to find a way to include it. Plus, points. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got a kick out of this episode. I think I originally gave it it's fine, but it's worth a chuckle. Amy kind of had some interesting comments in the sub that I noticed, that kind of how she talked about wanting to get an apartment in Station Square and opening up like a cafe bakery. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, she's already planning, oh, I'm not going to be like,
Yeah.
I want to like get out and do stuff. She's kind of like, it's interesting that she said like, oh yeah, I might want to like go out and, get a job or get a whatever. And I'm not thinking like, okay, well that's kind of interesting because, if you're planning, it's like, oh, I want to open up a cafe. It's like, are you just giving up on the chance of going home if you're gonna just, I thought it was interesting, but I also just kind of wanted to, give Amy some guff because it's just like, come on, Amy, like, are you that gullible to think that Sonic is just gonna just go for it?
I mean, that's kind of like I'm saying. You could have just removed Sonic, and when King Boom Boo imitates Sonic, it could be this shock of, oh, how did he catch Sonic? How did that happen? And then make you realize, oh wait, he's playing with Amy. Oh no.
No.
You, like I said, you can remove Sonic from this episode and it still works, but
I mean, I'll never say no to having Lindsay Thorndike. We appreciate MILFs on this podcast.
Sure. Did you have any other thoughts, Neon?
English dub, she's basically doing a Gone with the Wind thing.
That's Southern Belle.
Yeah. What's up with that? I don't know. Like, I'm an actor. I got to do acting things. This is how actors perform. This is how they act. They put on this, persona. And they got to speak theatrically. Yeah. Like, okay. Oh, boy. It makes you like, how ham they went on with this show. It's like, the dub is kind of like they just increased the ham, Like, just like, this isn't hammy enough. We got to, like, we got to go balls out and, turn it up to 11, Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Malzilla,
other than that, it's...
You got more? Okay, yes.
I got nothing.
You got nothing else, really?
I've got nothing. I guess I could say, have Father Guido Sarducci appear and then have his head turned around like in that Casper movie. There's like nothing here.
You didn't like this episode, huh?
It's... all I could think of is how I would change it. Other than that, it's like, I thought Knuckles was in this episode from memory. He's not.
No, he's not. No.
So, but it's a skippable episode in my opinion.
Wow. Okay, I really quite enjoyed this one. But all right. Malzo, what are your thoughts on this episode?
It's fine.
It's fine. He didn't like it that much, huh?
I mean, it was it was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it, just didn't love it either.
Wow. Okay. For me, this is like peak Sonic X for me. I thought this was awesome. I thought this was a great episode.
I thought you would have figured, Radrey, we usually have different tastes in things.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I like this one and I like the Hawk episode. Well, we all seem to be on the same page with the Hawk one.
We all like the Hawk one. That is true.
I mean, the damn one was kind of cheesy as hell, but I kind of like the cheese on that one. Because if you give me some, some cheesy, campy element, I can always, I can have fun with that. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said prior, I think my Tulpa theory still stands. Chris's mom thinks Sonic and his friends are just robots that nobody takes seriously. A lot like him. They don't take him seriously. I was just 4 minutes in, and I can tell. I was just sitting there like, wow, this episode's gonna be great. I love the way it's directed. It's spooky. They add in all like little spooky elements, and it's the way a good, horror setup
You're
works.
a horror fan.
Yeah, I am. So I mean, There's some great attention to detail with the sound elements. You know, they really worked on like the sound mixing at certain points. You know, they hit the right beats. Because, I mean, if you think about a horror movie, you have to hit the right beats for it to be spooky. And you have to find the right audio cues for it to work. Whether that's like closed corridors or, you know, stingers or, you know, some of these little elements that work. One thing I wanted to talk about was King Boom Boo lore. I mean, what is this character? Besides, obviously, a ripoff of the Mario Teresa character. Do we have anything on this?
We actually got some King Boom Boo lore in one of the Tales tubes.
Did we?
They were doing a Halloween special, and it was Tails, Amy, and Knuckles were telling it was Tails, Rouge, and Knuckles, and then Shadow showed up because Rouge was telling, like, she was trying to basically tell a scary story about the creation of Shadow, of how of a scientist going mad with grief, but then Tails actually told this story of this king, this selfish king who took all of his knights to go get a priceless necklace from a pyramid. And, as the story goes on, it becomes more and more apparent that this king is King Boom Boo, and all the ghosts that are in that are his knights that sacrifice themselves along the way. Hey, it was nice, neat little, again, I know it's kind of not necessarily one of your favorite things, but, give a little kind of, it's not so much, oh yeah, this is required homework, required reading, but, it's like, hey, if you're a Sonic fan, King Boom Boo, and we're telling ghost stories, so let's tell about our story about our favorite ghost. So.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to sound like one of those guys that just like, this doesn't feel like Sonic. This isn't a Sonic game. It's out of character. I don't want to sound like one of those people. But I don't. Yeah, but big old butts just oil me up, and I'm gonna do my twerk off. No. I just don't really see how this fits in. I mean, maybe, yeah, like you were saying earlier with the Sandopolis stuff, maybe they kind of got some inspiration for that. It just sort of feels very random. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's how people sort of feel about, like, Sad Am with, like, Sally Acorn and stuff. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I know, because I know Ian Flynn has gone on record to say that, things with Sonic are very experimental. It's a very experimental series. In terms of, like, whenever I look at this ghost, I mean, I want to like this character. I mean, I think it's well designed. I think it's interesting. I like the level that you do with Knuckles and Sonic Adventure 2 with this character. But it doesn't, like, when, if I showed this character outside of Sonic to somebody, people aren't going to say, wow, that's a Sonic character. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if I show a kid a picture of Tangle, right? Tangle the lemur, people would look at that and you say, that's a Sonic character, right? So, I don't know. I like it. I'm not sure if I quite like that story you just told me, Malzilla. I mean, it's sort of like, it's like kind of a nothing story. But yeah, like you said, yes.
I'll link you the YouTube, the video, and you can,
All right, I'll watch it for myself, but I don't know. All I can say is hashtag not too impressed, I mean, I want to be impressed because I like this character. I think he's well designed. But, let's see. I have about 2 more notes here. All Sonic has to do is to karate chop Amy in the neck to get rid of the Boo. That was it?
I guess so.
That's it? Like, there's no curse? There's no, like, phrase or anything? That's it? All right. Whatever. I mean, like, I'd like to understand the logic behind this. Sonic's got them super hands, that can get rid of them ghosts with his hand. I don't know, whatever. I should suspend my disbelief here. I should, what's the word? I should, I should suspend my disbelief. Is that what it is? What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
You see, wait. I mean, I think we were talking prior, Malzo, that you were really upset about how Amy, like, pretty much, fucked up the entire team, or basically you don't trust her. Like, this is a major miss
Well,
for her.
it's more of just me poking fun at Amy out of love. Out of love. Just because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like Amy has a lot of fans, and every time people write to her or talk about there's, people call Sally a divisive character. Amy is just as divisive in many ways because it seems like no matter what they do, no one is happy.
Right.
Because it's like, and again, kind of in my, last episode, you asked me, why do I watch Sonic X? And it's like, I called it, a step on my path to Sonic enlightenment. I want to understand why fans think, what is it that, makes them believe this or that or whatever. And, I'm just trying to make it so I can, so it feels that way.
Okay.
That being said, when I get down to the nitty gritty of it all, it kind of for me just becomes this case of like everyone's like, oh man, yeah, I really wish, Amy was, there at this time of, the story. And it's like, eh? And, it's like, people like, oh, Amy's lost her mojo. And I'm like, has she? Because, quite frankly, doesn't, like, it goes back to, there was a line in Sonic 06 where, obviously they're dealing with the whole idea of Sonic being the Iblis trigger. And it's like, if the whole world turned against Sonic, I'd choose Sonic. It's like, I get that Amy loves Sonic. It's a part of her character. But I think Amy is also a super compassionate character. And her love for people is almost as equally as her love for, like, I don't think she would sacrifice everyone for Sonic.
Okay, that's fair.
That's kind of like that's what I'm kind of getting at. And I know she's very lovey-dovey, the idea, but at the same time, it's like, if you love someone like that, you should kind of, in theory, know their habits. Like,
okay.
she knows, like, every time she, like, hugs Sonic is usually kind of like, he's not dismissive, but he's usually not a fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she probably fantasizes like, oh, Sonic, I didn't get married, blah, blah, blah. It's all, it's very part of her character. Mm-hmm. But there's this whole point where it's like, we're dealing with these supernatural ghosts. We're in this really, situation. It's not so much read the room, but maybe think more outside of yourself for a second and realize that maybe you're getting played.
Wow, so, you had a lot of thoughts on this. Okay.
I mean, it's not so much, I'm just trying to, like, explain the thoughts, explain where I'm coming through.
Okay.
Like I said, Amy had a fun little, she was dissing Chris, and that was kind of funny, but again, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, Amy, her character flaw really was shown in this moment.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. That's all the notes I got. I mean, I also wrote down this is an Eggman-less episode, which is nice, I guess. I don't know. Was it Neon? Do you have anything else before we move on to the next one? Or do you have any more notes? Malzilla, thoughts?
It's that. I mean, I've already said what I said. I would prefer if Sonic was not present here and just have it just an Amy episode, but
okay.
Or show that Sonic is aware and knows how to deal with ghosts.
Right.
In a weird just game reference.
Okay. All right, then. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
All right, so episode 20, Cruise Blues, or Shutsugeki, Eigu Photo 2, also known as Departure, Egg Fort 2. I think I like Cruise Blues better. Like, Egg Fort 2 doesn't even, like, that's not a good synopsis of, like, what the episode's about. Yeah, wins for the English dub title. This episode is directed by Nana Harada, best known as the second unit / assistant director for 2022's Suzume, a Makoto Shinkai joint. And if you don't know that name, think the anime Your Name. Also director of 1995's Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, and 1996 After War Gundam X, and 2006 D Gray-Man, D Gray Man. So
now the Gundam that you mentioned, she worked on Gundam. Things do make some sense now.
Yeah. Well, this is directed by, not directed, written again by Masaki Hiro. This episode begins underwater, where Diko and Boku, what are their names? I still can't remember. Boku Diku. Yeah, all right. I sound like an old person online trying to say these names. Trying to fix the egg fort, and after a few tests, after a few fourth wall breaks and some disses back and forth with Eggman, they discover it doesn't work. Eggman ditches it and unveils a brand new robot instead, amply named the Egg Fort 2, which isn't a fort. Meanwhile, Sonic...
It looks like the Enterprise.
Yeah, kind of. Like the Star Trek Enterprise.
Looked like, to me, like Tidal Wave from Transformers.
Yeah, well, it does some transforming, right? Anyway. Meanwhile, Sonic and the crew are cruising through the Arctic on the Thorndike family's private yacht, I think. I think it's their yacht. And everyone's enjoying the glacier sightseeing. I don't know how they're not cold as hell on this boat. Except Sonic, who's like absolutely losing it over being surrounded by water. He tries to explain his phobia, but no one really takes him seriously. So he starts running laps around the boat just to cope, driving everyone nuts. At one point, Amy gives him a pep talk, telling him to toughen up, and Sonic responds by literally passing out. Then he starts trying every trick in the book to get off the boat, guilt-tripping tales about leaving the ex-tornado behind, pretending to confess his love to Amy, and even telling Chris and Chuck that Amy's gone unhinged and that they need to evacuate. Naturally, nobody's buying it. Amy eventually corners him at the top of the ship's antenna, just in time for a helicopter to show up. Sonic thinks it's his escape, but nope, it's a plane full of sweet elderly guests there to join the cruise. They immediately start dotting on Sonic, and much to his horror, he tries jumping off the boat 15 times, each time falling into the water. Or excuse me, each time, I can't read my own notes, each time failing and falling into the water. Back underwater, Eggman reveals his latest toy, the Egg Fort 2, which splits into 3 parts. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Bokun delivers a message, but finds no one home. Ella returns, and Bokun tricks her with fake tears and a hug, then blasts her with a bomb as usual. When the yacht reaches the glaciers, the group spots whales, but one of them turns out to be Eggman in disguise. Sonic rushes in to fight, but keeps slipping on the ice. An elderly woman encourages him to relax and feel the ice, but things really go off the rails when Bokun shows up, begging Eggman for safety as Ella chases him down with the X-Tornado, now upgraded to the X-Cyclone. She kicks the Egg Fort 2 sky high. Sonic finally learns to chill, literally, and when offered the way off the boat, he decides maybe it's not so bad after all. End of episode. So, Neon, thoughts on this episode?
It's a very fourth wall-esque episode. Like we're breaking so many walls. We actually confirmed Sonic's age. which is 15 according to Amy, which actually got me thinking, when was Sonic's 10th birthday?
I don't know.
Because I was thinking maybe they're going off of because 10th anniversary,
Well, it's 2001. It was SA2.
2001. Okay, I was thinking maybe they were going off of the anniversary dates, but nope, never mind. This is just a hilarious episode with all the fourth wall breaking they do here. In particular, my favorite scene is Sonic's about to get off. The retirees come on board, and Sonic is being held down. And when I forgot the butler's name.
Tanaka.
Tanaka comes in and says, explains everything, and Chris says, "Oh yeah, well, Sonic's gonna leave," and then Tanaka goes, "No." What gets me is seeing Chris's face, because Chris has this face of, "Oh great, we're doing this. This is the plot of the episode today." It's just a look of disbelief and almost sheer just confusion at this. Other than that, Grandpa Chuck got drunk in the Japanese version.
What? I didn't have time to
And
watch
he
the
did.
dub. What happens in that one?
So the dub is way more fourth wall breaking.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought the sub was because Amy's little pep talk was like at least in the sub, she talked about like, hey, you're the main character. Kids look up to you, so man up and enjoy the cruise. And he's just like, he was a sassy little bitch in this episode, and I kind of loved it.
I confused the sub with the dub. My apologies.
You are forgiven.
Well, no. After watch so much Sonic X after a while, it's like a certain blurring is inevitable. So,
but it's a funny episode, especially in the Japanese dub.
So wait, Malzilla, how did they handle Chuck getting drunk off sake?
I think it was like he had a cold medicine or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because what's interesting about the actual sub is because they don't even translate it. He pretty much says, "I drank too much sake." But yeah, in the subtitle itself, or at least the one that I have on archive.org, they did not translate sake. So
no, they just imply that he's drunk.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's glowing. I mean, if you ever visit Japan, you visit a lot of people because a lot of people in Japan can't really handle alcohol. I mean, because no disrespect to them, of course, but they can't. A lot of them end up looking like this if they just drink way too much. They have like that. I don't know if this is derogatory of me to say, but that's what they call it. They call it the Asian glow. So, I mean, I get this too because I'm like I'm a quarter Asian myself. So, anyway, I don't know. Malzo, did we ask you thoughts on this episode?
It was fine. I mean, there were some really funny jokes. Again, I kind of laughed about how, Sonic was just being a little drama queen, him just like eating himself off the boat, and like the boat captain's just kind of like, hey, you got a little farther this time, and they're just kind of like rolling with it. I thought that was funny. I also thought that he was just, his like, that meme pose of him on, on his knees, like hands to the sky, like, just like it's like he's like not so much praying, but kind of just like, why have you forsaken me? That's from this episode. I know, Neon, you mentioned last time we had you about how basically like in the subs, Cream mentions that they're from Green Hill, so Green Hill shout outs. I did make a comment I think I remember talking about last night, is that like they call it like the Thorndike family yacht. That's not a yacht. That is a cruise liner.
Yeah.
Like, and it got me thinking is like, because a couple times they always mention like, oh yeah, the Thorndike family, they own like Thorndike Industries is like 70% of all like freaking like computer chip market or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, like just how rich are they if like the family yacht is a cruise liner, and it goes to me point of like, you got all this and you're sending Chris to public school.
Yeah.
I think in the Japanese dub they say it's one of the smaller ships they're using.
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Well, I mean, if they're able to get Apache helicopters as an escort, I mean unless they're
like,
subsidized.
I was gonna say,
unless they're subsidizing with sea
level of wealth.
Were you gonna say, Neon? Unless they're subsidizing.
Unless they're subsidizing with Sea Org or something. Scientology. It's
okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they are Scientologists. That would explain a lot of things. I don't know. I still I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still go with the whole Tulpa theory that this is all just in Chris's mind. That maybe he's like a poor kid in the middle of nowhere and he just dreams up this entire story. And that Sonic is this magical friend from another planet that, makes his life a lot more interesting. And he just needs to work through his problems.
Like a meth addict and his mom's a hooker.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to enjoy the show, and this is how I enjoy it.
Is Grandpa Chuck their plug? What is this?
Grandpa Chuck's like that.
The Grandpa, he cooks meth. He is the danger. He is the one who knocks.
Okay.
So who's Tanaka and Ella?
They're
local
the
gangsters.
Local gangsters. I was gonna say they're the.
Yes, Tanaka's Kiryu.
They're the owners of the boarding school or the homeless shelter. I don't know. Not homeless.
Yeah, they work at the homeless shelter. That's a good one.
Yeah, and their mom and dad are constantly working and stuff. But anyway, that got dark. Wow. Okay. Let's backtrack
again. Read that theory about Knuckles. Anyway, back to Sonic X.
Yeah, no, I will. Thank you for that. Well, be sure to link us. We'll link our people down below. Hopefully we remember to do that. If we don't, if we forget anything, please let us know, dear listener. We do read your feedback. Yeah, so I got some notes. Wouldn't it be hilarious if Sonic and friends were like stuck in a boat with like tons of old people and had nothing to do? Because that's what the show is. That's what this episode is. Did you ever think about that? Do you think this is hilarious? Like, oh wow, so funny. Did you get a chuckle out of that? Does that concept make you laugh? A sensible chuckle, even.
Maybe a sensible chuckle.
Okay, all right. I don't know why they decided to go with the fourth wall breaks in this episode in particular. Maybe it's because the writers were thinking that, well, if Sonic was like pushed at the limit, like, what would break him? Because I think that's kind of what they were trying to do here, or at least what the writers are doing. I imagine they probably say, well, if we start breaking Sonic, we have to break the fourth wall. At least that's the only conclusion I can draw. Because a lot of these episodes, like especially like the Savannah one, this one, heck, even like the Ghost one, they kind of feel really impromptu. Like they say, well, what should we write? I don't know. What about an episode where Sonic can't run or he's confined in one area? Because I feel like, yeah, a lot of the writers that work on these shows, I feel like that's sort of, they put up like these sort of what if scenarios. Like we're going to talk a little later about Sonic Racer, I know. because the next episode's about Sam Speed versus Sonic. But it's like some of these stories are like repeated and done again. So I don't know. I mean, I will overall I will say I did enjoy this episode. I liked it a lot better than I thought I would. Because I got a lot of philosophy out of this. What's that? No, I don't think it was terrible at all. I didn't like at the very beginning. I thought it's another Sonic X episode. But no, after watching it for a little while and digging more into like the philosophy of how it probably was put together, I found it quite enjoyable. Another comment I have here is it's interesting that they point out the Sonic's canonically 15. Did they establish the ages for the other characters? Or is it...
Yes. I think that was like in an earlier episode.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they did because they're eye catch cards, and they usually
right.
list an age.
Yes, the subtitle stuff, but like they don't actually say the age in the show. It's just like eye catch cards or like what is it, background fodder or something?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. Yeah, because here it's
maybe
like,
cream, but I don't remember.
It's really just like spoken out. Like it's not like there's fundamentally no way you could say that she did not say 15. So we could pretty much canonically say, that he is 15 in this. There's no like, oh, maybe he has no age. Mm-mm. You can't really say that now. So, yeah. So I wrote here that this episode has a deeper philosophical meaning than the others in a weird way. I mean, especially after, Amy's diatribe about how Sonic losing his mind in the ship is detrimental because he's integral to, like, the progression of the show. I mean, I started asking myself these questions of, like, how meta is this episode? Because, you have Tanaka, right, in this episode, and he maintains how... I mean, I'm starting to wonder, like, is this, like, Masaki Hiro, like, kind of giving his thoughts about writing the show? I mean, if we're going full-on meta... Right? Because, like when the old people from the Silver Star home, they come to coach, quote unquote, Sonic and, the gang how to relax. It sort of feels like mandatory fun in a way. It's like, no, you just write the episode. Just relax and write the episode, Like, I see the producer, like telling them to write the episode, like, Masaki Hiro's maybe freaking out, like, hey, wakanna, hey, Sonic, wakanna. And, like, I don't know, you have the producers like, daijoubu. I don't know, kodomo no kyakuhon da yo. Like, saying it's just a kid's manga. It's just a small kid's manga. Calm down. Right? I mean, at least that's what I'm getting from this. And, like, but yeah, like I feel like Masaki maybe can't be fucked to write them, or maybe he just has to. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading this, but I mean, since this is the meta episode, I feel like I'm warranted to have this comment. Or this is an episode summoned to explore what would happen if Sonic were confined to a small place for a long period of time to relax. I think it's probably just that.
Like an elevator episode.
Yes. A bottle episode, if you will. An episode where it's contained in, like a lot of these episodes. Episodic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other comments here is, I find it interesting that Sonic launched himself off a boat to get... he launches himself off the boat. Like, I'm asking myself, how does he even get back to the ship? I mean, like, wasn't there, like, some news report recently, like, a couple of days ago, like, a person fell off a Disney cruise ship, and that they barely rescued them? Like, barely.
Okay, so, as someone who worked in the cruise industry, yeah, if you fall off a cruise ship, most people, of course, are drunk when they do it, though some people do it personally to commit suicide. I believe I have stories.
Oh, God.
So tangent, because I think it is an interesting story worth telling.
Okay.
So when I was selling cruises, became part of the care team, which was kind of our emergency team where should something happen at sea, and if you're available to travel, because I'm single, I have a passport, I can kind of get up and go, where if you could get the time off and approval, you would be able to basically go work and kind of act as kind of a goodwill ambassador, kind of go help the families of who's ever dealing with a tragedy. And they were telling us stories of things that had happened. And one story that they said that was real, this is Manhattan, a family was having dinner one evening. Like they had like a seat at the, because usually dining rooms are at the back of the ship. So, they had a table right next to the back of the windows. And, like the grandpa just got up, said, "Excuse me," and he walked away from the table. They thought he was using the restroom. Next thing you know, they see him jump off the rail. Like they see him fall off the rail. So yeah, it's just, and if you're ever on a cruise and you start seeing a lot of flowers or there's a lot of bananas, usually that means someone has passed away, because a lot of times, a lot of their deep freezers are used as portable morgues.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that got dark. Okay.
Now with Sonic, Sonic's more durable than the average human.
Okay.
He eats himself out off at supersonic speed, so it's kind of like, yeah. So it's all those magic rings, he's absorbed, which is actually something Ian did with, kind of made a joke about in the Archie Sonic, is that the fact that Sonic has absorbed so many rings over the years, he's like naturally has like the highest endurance and pain tolerance of anything on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the crew
go on, yes.
And the crew is keeping eye on him, so like they were able to calculate how far he went, so they probably have an idea that where he's going. Granted,
they
that's
got
a bit
someone in a
optimistic, but
lifeboat. Just it's giving them something to do besides drive the boat. It's like, okay. And then of course there is the thing of that, like Sonic is in game fast enough to run on water, so he technically could
fair.
Get back up.
I guess that's how he got back. He could run on water, but like if you hit yourself in the water, that means you have to like start running on the water to like get out of the water. I don't know. I could see like you run really fast to like glide on the water, but how do you get up after you plumaged into the water? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Because I don't know. Going back to the whole thing of being rescued, if you fall off a cruise ship, it's like, I was looking this up, and it's like 9 out of 25 people are the only people who get rescued from falling out of a cruise ship. From what the math that I looked at. I don't know if you can confirm that, Malzilla, but
it sounds, it checks out, because again, it's one of those things. If someone falls overboard, depending on how far they fall, you gotta, because all boats have tender ships, so they can, if they can alert the crew that something has happened, that they could, stop the ship, because again, those ships go by pretty fast. They don't look like they run fast, but if you, especially if you fall, you're probably knocked out or in shock floating. There's a good chance that, if you do manage to keep conscience or, hear what's about you, there's no way you're going to be able to swim to catch up. It's going to have to stop.
Right. Because those waves are really fast.
Yeah, and then again, depending on where you are in the ocean, and who knows what could be lurking beneath the water.
Yeah. I'll say, as someone who went through Navy basic, even with something like the U.S. Navy, where we have all those ships, at some point it becomes less of, finding someone to just, we need to find evidence that the person is dead. And after a while, it's just, okay, we can't find them. They're gone.
Oof.
It's do what you can.
It's reality. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that got dark again. I guess. Thank you, Cruise Blues.
You know, what do you think the Blues are about?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. My other notes are Sonic. Listen to me. Sonic manipulates everybody on board to his favor. Does Shadow ever do this? I imagine he does. I mean, in terms of other hedgehogs, because like Sonic has this ability to like manipulate people. Because obviously this show he really does it. I mean, this
SA
really makes you hate him. But anyway, go on. SA.
When you mean by manipulation, are we referring to the games or the show? Because
Either or.
Shadow manipulating is literally the plot of SA2.
That's true. That's fair.
So,
I mean, like these fast hedgehogs that we're just supposed to understand that they can manipulate anybody, but they don't. Or I mean, I guess as you just said, SA2 Shadowy manipulates everyone. But anyway, it feels a little, I guess, condescending in a way. Like Sonic feels like it's like a kind of selfish in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm starting to understand why Japanese people don't like this character. They don't like selfish people in Japan. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, they took Sonic, put him on a cruise ship, and then when they request to get him off the ship, they just get a bunch of retirees to force him on. Yeah, I get it. He's being selfish and trying to make him learn how to relax. On the other hand, I mean, they're basically imprisoning him here. They're basically just saying, well, your problem, not ours.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, again, technically, if you're being held against your will, that is technically kidnapping.
Well, they're forced. They forced him to relax, right? Mandatory fun, like that Weird Al Yankovic album. Mandatory.
Exactly.
My last two notes are: what do you make of Bokun having a meltdown because Sonic and friends aren't at the Thorndike residence? Do you got anything on this, or not really?
I thought it was kind of funny because it's like, he's just a nothing character to me. But it's like, he's kind of used for these cheap gags, and he always comes there, and they always kind of like treat him like crap, but he treats them like crap, and he does get kind of, his own team does kind of treat him like crap, so his little meltdown, and Ella is a compassionate person. I mean, again, I think it's in the next episode we find out that Cream and Amy sleep in the same bed as Ella, so she's very maternal, so she's like in many ways she's kind of Chris's second mom in a way. So yeah, it's like her kind of shifting into mom mode makes sense, and then just her getting like super pissed and like chasing after him in the X tornado, that made me laugh. And she kicked like one shot at Eggman.
I'm hilarious. The justification as to how she can fly. Oh yeah, I got bored.
I got bored.
Yeah, I guess Chuck just has lots of endless time in his hands to teach Ella how to fly the X tornado. They're really not care. They really don't care about getting home, do they? Or I don't know. Maybe they're just too. I guess they're worked up for looking for these Chaos Emeralds. Anyway, let's see here. My last note is: does Sonic have an? I guess I said, does Sonic have an unearned arc here, or did he slowly and calmly win? Is that what I'm supposed to understand? Is that because?
I think he was supposed to have an arc, but
tell me it feels unearned because he had to relax and feel the ice. At least that's what the elderly woman says in this story, or excuse me, this episode. I guess it's the story. Yeah.
Spoiler warning for the ending. I'd like to remind everyone that at the end, everyone just becomes lazy as Sonic and rests on their rooftop.
Yeah.
So,
I don't get it, man.
Did Sonic really learn anything?
Good question. Did he learn anything? Yeah, right. I don't know. That's all I got.
Of course he didn't learn anything.
You didn't learn anything? Go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I was going to say, I remember in a few episodes later, you were saying how Sonic almost seemed like a cult leader.
Oh, yeah.
And with Amy saying, you got to live for everyone else, that's almost like an advisor saying, you can't be weak. You have to show them that you're great.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what this show is. He's the cult Tulpa leader of Chris Thorndike. But, yeah, overall, I enjoyed this episode. I did not hate it. I liked it. I would watch it again. I would watch the dub if I had time. But shall we move on to the last episode for today?
I wanted to ask,
yes,
Mousilla, you said that the creator, the fact that he worked on Gundam made a lot of sense for this. What did you mean by that?
Well, they worked on Gundam X and Gundam Wing, and I kind of noticed, and this is going to see, there's a lot of both of those ones on the ocean, and there's a lot kind of on these big flagships. So it's like, okay, I can see some of the correlation, and again, it's a loose thread.
I see.
Gundam X is kind of it did not do well. It kind of buried I won't say it buried Gundam, but it wasn't super well received. And Gundam did get a really big resurgence until it got Seed out. So obviously Wing was really popular in the States, much more popular than it was in Japan. But yeah.
Shall we move on, or we got more thoughts?
Yeah. I like how we made no commentary on what Eggman and the other two robots were doing.
I don't know much to say. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like you said. It's a Manzai thing, and that does really well in Japan. But I don't know if that translates so well for American audiences. I didn't watch the dub, so I don't know how they changed some of that so that it would feel authentic for an international audience.
It was mostly just Boku and Deku having an argument with Eggman. That was about it.
Okay.
They argued over naming the ship. Okay. That was about it.
I see. All right. Well, without further ado, let's move on to our last episode, episode 21, Fast Friends, or Speedo Shobu, Sonic versus Samu, also known as Speedo Shobu, or Speed Match. Excuse me, I can't read my own notes. Speed Match, Sonic versus Sam. And this episode's directed again. Oh no, not again. I'm sorry. This is a new person. Oh boy, this is me being
Please
racist.
tell me they didn't work on Speed Racer.
This person has an interesting pedigree. The director of this one is by Okazaki Yukio. They're best known for directing tons of episodes of Darkwing Duck. And 1996 is BTX, The Empire of the Machine, whatever that is. And most notably, here's quite the pedigree, or here's quite the project. They worked on the original 1997's Berserk and 2004's Samurai 7, whatever that is. This one, yes,
between Berserk and Darkwing Duck, that covers about the entire spectrum of anything, really.
Yeah, right. that's quite the range there. And this episode is written by our favorite Intelligente writer, Urasawa Yoshio. If you want to know why this episode's not so fun, blame him. Yeah, so this episode starts out with Sam Speed showing up in the middle of the night, waking up Chris and his family to challenge Sonic into a race. Sonic, being Sonic, isn't interested. The race has already been turned into a massive publicity stunt by Jerome Wise, the president's aide, who using it to boost the president's re-election campaign. When Sonic refuses, Jerome does what any desperate politician strategist would do. He makes a deal with Eggman. Eggman says Bokun to deliver a robot that threatens to kiss Sonic if he doesn't agree to the race. Because, we've all been there, We can't get kissed by that robot, Especially as a 15-year-old, Ew, gross. Kisses. Face of that nightmare, Sonic picks the lesser evil and agrees, and Bokun gets smooched instead. The race kicks off, taking Sonic and Sam across highways, cities, and a big Golden Gate-style bridge, and into the desert. Eggman tries to interfere with the slow-moving sumo robot, but it's way too sluggish to keep up. Sam pulls a few dirty moves and tries to win, but Sonic keeps it playful and cheeky, countering every time. Eventually, they race back to the stadium, where the president is supposed to greet the winner, but the president's tied up with meetings. So Jerome decides that he'll do the handshake himself, hoping to steal the spotlight and ride it all the way back into the office, becoming president in a much future time. Sonic and Sam finish the race neck and neck. So it seems, a slow-mo replay shows Sonic actually jumped over the finish line ribbon, slashed a peace sign to the camera, and then looped back to officially cross. Just when the press is ready to snap the handshake photo, Sonic refuses to play along. Then Jerome's phone rings, and I'm guessing this is his girlfriend, Vivian, calls to say that he's been fired for cutting deals with Eggman. He's been fired for making a deal with Eggman. The press immediately swarms him, and Sonic walks away untouched, smiling as the chaos unfolds. End of episode. So, Neon, thoughts on this episode?
It's a fairly standard Sonic must race something episode. You see this in a lot of Sonic media. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog did this. Sad-Am did this. I think Sonic Boom did it. It's always Eggman, or in this case Sam Speed, have made a fast machine, and now they're going to challenge Sonic to a race. And obviously Sonic's going to win, but, we need that big race. Really, it's an episode. I think this is the most we get out of Sam Speed being a rival to Sonic. This is like the last hurrah of that, frankly. Really, the most I remember from this episode was this might be for Blast from the Past, a YouTube poop of all things.
Yeah.
Where they changed it, where it's Sonic racing Sam Speed racing Speed Racer. It makes no sense, but this is YouTube poop. We don't question why that's happening.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the only thing the consequence of this episode is the presidential aide is now homeless.
Yes.
That's it's really a nothing.
To be fair, he's lucky they don't charge him for treason.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Any other notes on this
episode? Outside of that,
sorry.
Outside of the connection to the YouTube poop, this is really a episode to me.
A nothing burger.
I mean, we've seen Sonic Race episodes before. It's not much here.
Okay.
It's
It gets a from Neon. All right, that's fair.
So,
watch the English dub because the Japanese dub, the sound mixing and music is all over the place, and they gave the wheels on the race car very squeaky. It needs oiling.
Oh.
That's it.
I'm guessing, Malzil, you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of made the joke that this is Diet Sonic Racer.
Yes.
And that, pulls a lot of the same beats. I also had a fun comment that it was basically it falls flat compared to Sonic Racer, but it kind of has the chance to be a really good Sonic Boom episode, but it kind of flumps that because like Sonic loves to race people. It's kind of his thing. Like he's the fastest thing alive. He doesn't care if he's running, extreme gearing, driving. It's what he does, and he usually will always flaunt the chance to show that he's the best. Sam challenging him and then him just not wanting to do it. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of pissed me off because like he's just sleeping on the damn rail. I kind of part of me hopes he just falls off, and it's just like I don't want to. It's like, dude, you race people all. You just raced a cheetah unprovoked like 2 episodes ago. You know, Sam's. You know, he's pulling out the jet engines he wants to throw down, and he's just like, and then of course you get this whole thing like, we're gonna send this kissy robot to you, and like in the sub, you know, the aide offers him cream puffs, and then in the dub they offer him front row tickets to an ice show. So it's kind of like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand this at all, but okay.
Maybe they thought cream
Like,
puff was
well, they just
derogatory.
to me this sounds so random. Like they couldn't think about what Eggman would want if he was, you know, if they were gonna bribe him. I don't know, like extra Chaos Emerald or access to the military or secret files, right? All these things they could have given him, but cream puffs? I get that this is a kid show and that they have to like make jokes and stuff, but I don't really get the whole like take us to an ice skate or cream puffs. I mean, is there some joke I'm missing here? Am I supposed to laugh at this? I mean, am I not a kid?
He's supposed to be offering very terrible bribes.
Okay.
You know, the idea that, you know, I have this very important information. What are you going to give me? 2 Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Really? Like, this will destroy the world and you're giving me comically small bribes. Yes.
All right. I can jive with that. I mean, maybe they should have made that more of a thing, but I don't know. Time is limited. One question I had, unless Malzilla, do you have more?
I kind of wish it was they had kind of gone full wacky racers with it.
Okay. Oh, had more contestants?
Yeah, more contestants. Yeah, just go full, just go full cheese. You know, go full ham. Like they tried, but they didn't. And you know, like I said, you know, maybe it's because you got Sonic Racing Cross Worlds coming up, and it's just like, you know what? Just go whole hog. Just the more absurd, the better.
Right.
You bring up other racers, and now it makes it sound like that YouTube poop I watched was better than this.
Ouch. Skibbity toilet. That's where it's at. Skibbity Sonic. Yeah. For our listeners out there who have no idea what a YouTube poop is, yeah, it's like Skibbity toilet. Anyway, let's see here. Vivian. Is this character ever brought up again? Not like I should care about who Vivian is. I imagine there's somebody who works at the White House.
I thought she was the aide, but then I did a wiki search and the name doesn't come up.
Okay. I feel like maybe it could have been Topaz or something. Or maybe they didn't want to build a ship on the show. I don't know.
Typically, they hook Topaz up with Tanaka.
Do they really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, they hint at it.
Okay.
I guess
that was not a ship I was expecting, but all right.
Yeah, I think it's something to look forward to for season 2.
Okay.
That's an odd pairing.
Yeah, like a crack ship almost. Did you find it interesting that Eggman is bad at chess?
Yes.
That's a fairly
No,
common
no.
joke.
Is it? It's a
Well,
joke?
The idea that the super genius is incompetent at chess.
Oh, okay. Fair. Okay.
It pops up from time to time.
well, I think, in the case of Eggman, it doesn't surprise me a whole lot because usually, chess, you have to be super focused. You're thinking 10, 12 steps ahead. Eggman, for, Robotnik, how brilliant he is, for the 300 IQ that he does have, he's also super scatterbrained. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Sonic's obviously ADHD to the max, especially movie Sonic. But I would also say Eggman, to his own extent, it doesn't. It takes a lot for him to like lock in. Like, if Sonic challenged him to chess, he probably would like lock in. But if he was just bored, he'd probably get bored after 2 moves.
Hmm.
He doesn't really strike me as a chess player.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's like whenever they want to show something complicated, they always show somebody playing chess, you know?
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Watching this episode made me ask this question. Why is Sonic even fighting Eggman in this iteration? Of course, like with Saddam, you know that he's just fighting him because, he destroyed the environment, he destroyed the world. He's just annoying. It led me to start asking this question. Is it ever explained?
No,
I think
not
it's just
really.
that. I think it's just that Eggman's evil, and that's it.
Okay, all right. He's just antagonist. Insert antagonist. Okay.
Yeah.
I usually like things that have rhyme and reason, but whatever. I'll run with it.
See, that's the thing a lot with this stuff is that ultimately, there's a lot of just again, there's not a whole lot of origins in these games, outside a few things here or there, and quite frankly, obviously with game, he's trying to take over the world, and we just kind of assume that some, iteration of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 in CD happened back on Sonic's world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't got much on this episode. It was fine. It's fine. It's It's not a Intelligente levels of bad,
It's
but
not
it's
that bad,
okay.
but it's fine.
It's a filler episode.
Yeah, it's very filler. I mean, I guess we get the Sam Speed episode that we wanted. Question mark. I mean, he is a character in this universe that does not like Sonic very much, and that probably, who loves speed. It's in his name. But I don't know. I guess we get the episode we quote unquote, yeah, in quotes, wanted. Thoughts on Bokun? What do you think of this character?
A little robot.
That's it. Not much.
Kind of. I don't think he really serves a point. Like, he's just I don't know. I thought he was an odd choice. Like, oh, we're just gonna have this character who sends them messages. It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's a comic relief character,
Okay.
How does Sonic know about these things happening, or how does anyone know anything's about to occur? Or maybe Eggman is just that vain that he needs to send someone to challenge Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
It's comic relief, ultimately.
I don't know. What I get from this character is like if you handed me a Death Note, right? Like you could give me that book to like erase any character from this, but you can only do one. I think it would be Bokun, not Chris Thorndike. I don't know why, but it's like I get the reason why Chris exists in this universe and why he's integral to the plot. Because, it's like if you just get rid of Chris Thorndike, they're just going to come up with some other character. Name Yuta or something, right? So, I don't know.
Tom Wachowski.
Who? Paul Wachowski.
I said Tom
Oh,
Wachowski.
Tom Wachowski. I thought you said Paul Wachowski. Like, who's that? Okay. All right, that's fair. I mean, well, Tom's a much more. I guess Tom's a better. He's a cop and he's an adult.
I like Tom. I'm just. Yeah, I was just making a joke that random human characters, Chris Thorndike, Tom Wachowski, Wachowski.
I think sort of like, what is it? The young kid who has a quote unquote. I guess we could just call it the Tulpa theory. Who believes that this fantastic character exists in their universe and they just dream them all up. But I don't know. Again, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Bo-kun, no likey. I don't like this character. I find him annoying, but I guess that's what we're supposed to feel. Let me ask you something. If you were 15 years old, a serious question, would you refuse to kiss a robot? And you'd want to say, well, I guess I better join a race because I can't kiss this robot.
I mean, I'd probably fight, or alternatively hope that the T-100 comes to save me.
Okay.
T-1000.
Is there like some fear of getting mononucleosis if you kiss this robot? You don't know where these lips have been?
I think it's just a cute
by a robot.
I think it's just a cuties thing.
Yeah, yeah. You say cuties or cooties? Could be a cooties.
Cuties. Okay. I'm. It's been a while since I've used that term.
Not the Netflix documentary, mind you. Don't touch that thing, by the way.
That was a documentary?
I think so. I think it was. I don't know. All I know is don't touch that thing. It sounds cursed as hell. That's all I'm gonna say. Just read the I mean, if you dare, go to Google and type in synopsis of cuties. Oh God. The Malzil, would you kiss a 15-year-old? As a 15-year-old, would you kiss a robot? I'm guessing you just Google cuties.
No, I'm just trauma.
You would join a race instead? No, guess I gotta join the race. I'm trying to get.
If I was Sonic, I would just want to stunt on Sam Speed. Just the dude deserves to be stunted on. It's I just want to the way he flexed on him with the whole cross the finish line, go up to the camera, flash some gang signs, go and do it again. He's like, what up? West Side! that was good. I like that part.
Okay. The last note I got here is, why does Sam's speed foot look like Amy? Like, when I looked at his foot, I'm like, oh, is that Amy? Is Amy driving his car? I'm like, oh no, it's not Amy. That's Sam Speed. It sort of reminds me of that whole, was it Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman stepping on Batman's head, and then everybody said, is that Amy Rose? What?
It's the same type of shoe.
Yeah, it's the same type of shoe.
And of course, it also helps that, Amy is Wonder Woman in the DC crossover, so, it works.
Will Amy be our new Sam Speed? Dun dun dun. I don't know. All right, well, that's all I got for these episodes. Anything else you want to say before we go? Before we do the closing out?
Yeah, just kind of some stuff we got coming up down on the pipeline for the month of July. Next episode should be wrapping up season 1 of Sonic X, and we can give all of our thoughts on this season and the marathon that it was to get through it. Chevelle will be joining us in a couple weeks for when the final Sonic DC issue drops, and we should hopefully have a episode covering that shortly afterward. And then we'll probably, my guess, aim to start season 2 of Sonic X next month. I just dropped another Malzillisode regarding IDW 79. I felt there was some stuff we're talking about, so check that out. Probably won't do anything for 80, just unless something crazy happens. Yeah.
All right, then. Yeah, be sure to follow us and join our Discord through Twitter and Blue Sky. And we'll see you again for the next 5 episodes. Will you be joining us, Neon?
I'd like to. We'll see how things go. The 7 on 7 off work thing. And I may be guarding the Master Emerald while Knuckles is off with Wade Whipple.
Hawk Whipple, or does that sound too much like Hawk Tua?
Oh, God. Don't invest in Hawk to a coin. Let this be a message.
Now, it may be a good idea to not invest in Bitcoin either.
That too, yes. I don't like gambling, man. Let's see. What are we ending on?